So good afternoon, or good evening rather. I'm going to share my screen and we'll get started. Okay, so you've joined Toastmasters. Now what? So how long have you been a member, Danny?
About a week and a half.
Wow, a week and a half. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now I'm sure you're wondering, well, where do we go from here?
Yeah.
Okay. This is our agenda for today. We're going to talk a little bit about the Toastmaster basics and how to get started. We're going to talk about the Pathways learning experience. Are you familiar with Pathways at all?
Yes, I signed up for one of them.
Okay, excellent. So which path did you get?
The Mastering Presentations, I think it's called.
Okay, presentation mastery. Excellent. We're going to go over some resources and then we should have some time for questions. To begin with statistics, Toastmasters is 100 years old. It was chartered or started in 1924. Today we have almost 14,000 clubs, over 260,000 members in about 150 countries. So when you think about Toastmasters, it goes far beyond your club. And just about anywhere you can go in the world, at least 150 countries, you can find Toastmasters. I went to Nigeria in 2018 and I thought, well, let me find a Toastmasters club. And I did. I went there, I participated, I was timer in that meeting, and everything was similar as it is in my club at home. The only thing different was they have their meetings for 2 hours and our meeting is 1 hour. But I guess they had a bigger group of people or they wanted to get in more speeches, so theirs were longer. The international mission for Toastmasters is we empower individuals to become more effective communicators and leaders. The core values for Toastmasters is integrity, service, respect, and excellence. And how does Toastmasters see itself for the future? Well, Toastmasters is a thriving and diverse global community. We enhance the personal lives and careers of individuals, enabling them to positively impact their communities. We empower people to develop communication and leadership skills through welcoming, high quality, experiential learning environment, resulting in greater confidence and personal growth. So Toastmasters sees itself as going beyond where we are now, probably another 100 or 150 years, you never know. The district mission is to build new clubs and support all clubs in achieving excellence. We are in District 15, and I will mention that again in another slide. District 15 is comprised of 5 states. We're in Idaho. We have in one county in Oregon, Malheur, several counties in Wyoming, Nevada, and Utah. The basic structure of Toastmasters begins with the club, the individual clubs that are comprised of individual members. Each club has officers, and you have at least the president, a vice president, VP of membership, VP of public relations, secretary, treasurer, sergeant at arms. Going beyond the club, there are divisions and areas. In District 15, we have 3 divisions, and each division has at least 4 to 5 areas, and then there are clubs inside those areas. We have a total of 51 clubs as of now in District 15. So if you want to go beyond the club, you can be a division director or an area director. An area director will visit clubs in their area twice a year, and division directors oversee all of that activity, the area directors and the club as well. Beyond the area director, we have the district officers, the district director, program quality director, and club growth director. They're considered as the trio. And then you have others supporting the district as the public relations, finance, administration. And then above that, we have support from our regional advisors and international directors. When you think about, okay, we heard the missions for Toastmasters, the districts. Well, the club's mission is to provide a supportive, positive learning experience that empowers members to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in self-confidence and personal growth. So the club purpose is to help you to have a great experience. You joined Toastmasters for a reason. Maybe it's to become a better speaker, a better presenter, or maybe to even develop your leadership skills. And your club is going to help you do that through that supportive, positive environment. So what you want to think about, is there anything specific? You've been in Toastmasters for a week now, or a little beyond a week. So you just think about, what is there anything specific that you want to work toward? And you can speak to your VP of Education. Do you know who your VP of Education is?
I do. He's very good about communicating, and I think he sent the link for this to me.
Okay,
So,
excellent. So
yeah.
you can speak with him and tell him your goals and how you want to work toward them, and he can provide you with other resources that can help you as well. Do you want to set your own time frame, or do you want a little nudge? You can speak to your VP of Education about that, and then he'll be able to help you say, oh, well, we have a vacancy in the meeting today. Do you want to be Toastmaster? Do you want to be this or that? So that's that little nudge, depending on the goals that you have set for yourself. The club, we mentioned that it's made up of 7 officers, but a part of that club is part of that foundation is also the meeting itself. The meeting is in 3 parts. You're going to have speeches, evaluations, and you're going to have table topics. Heading up that meeting is going to be the Toastmaster, and then you have table topics master, and then you have general evaluator. The general evaluator is going to do all the evaluations, calling up the people who's helping out in the meeting, the timer and so forth. And the topics master is going to allow individuals to speak off the cuff, impromptu speaking, 1 to 2 minutes. As I mentioned, the meeting format is powered by your agenda. I don't know which program are y'all using a program? Toast, Host, or something like that?
Easy Speak?
Easy Speak, all right. So Easy Speak is going to have it where you can sign up for meeting roles, sign up for speeches, and so forth. And so that agenda that's created from that, that's how your meeting is going to go forward. You can have, as I mentioned, the table topics master, then you have the speeches, and you have the evaluations. One document that you can look for, just Google it, a Toastmaster wears many hats. And in that document, it'll tell you, describe all of those roles and what you can expect. When you're a Toastmaster, when you're a topics master, when you're the speaker, so all those roles will be described for you, and a Toastmaster wears many hats. When you sign up to be a Toastmaster and you fill out the membership application, right before your signature, there is a Toastmaster's promise. And that signature is saying, yes, I agree with this, and I am promising this. You're promising to attend meetings regularly, to prepare all of your projects to the best of your ability, basing them on the Toastmasters education program. And that program is Pathways. Sometimes we may some members may want to do speeches just off the top of their heads or whatever, which is fine as long as it's within the Toastmasters Pathways program, that they're working toward completing a level, completing a project within that program. And that's what that speech is supposed to help them do. To prepare for and fulfill meeting assignments, to provide fellow members with helpful, constructive evaluations to help the club maintain a positive, friendly environment, to serve as an officer if called to or asked to do so, to treat fellow members and guests with respect and courtesy, to bring guests to the meetings, to adhere to the guidelines of Toastmasters International, and to act within the core values. And we went over the core values a minute ago, and they were integrity, service, respect, and excellence. This is another graphic just showing you about the Toastmasters meeting and that experience that you're going to have. So this is it. There's an opportunity to take on club leadership positions, whether you are a club officer or you're also having a leadership position when you are a Toastmaster or a general evaluator as well. And then there are going to be feedback and evaluations. When you give that speech, someone is going to evaluate you, give you some positive things about it, and also help you with some items that maybe could improve on. If you do this, that could make it a little bit better. And you yourself are going to practice giving feedback, evaluating others, and you're going to do impromptu speaking during table topics. Toastmasters is also have other programs. We have the speech prep program, which you can speak to your VPE about, and the youth leadership program. And each year we have speech contests, and contests start in February of every year, and they go through May of the year. It's beginning in the club, so you can give speeches in the contest in the club, and then if you win there, you go on to the area, to the division, and end up at the district club contest, at the district contest, and of course that is going to be at the district conference. As you are going through pathways and doing all of your projects and your speeches and taking on leadership responsibilities, that can all culminate in the highest educational award that Toastmaster offers, and that is the Distinguished Toastmaster, or DTM. It takes some time to get to your DTM and to achieve that, but it's something worth wanting to achieve. Pathways of the Educational Program, I'm happy you said you've already signed up for that in Presentation Mastery. And there are also opportunities to be club coaches and club mentors and club sponsors. Now, coach, you would coach a club, an existing club that may be having some difficulties. Maybe they're needing to get more members, or there's something else that they need to do. So that's a club coach. The club mentor is for newly established clubs to help them get on their feet and help them know how to do this, how to do that, what to expect. That's the club mentor. The club sponsor is the person who gets that club going, to get it chartered, to make it be a club. So those are for new clubs. So if ever you're looking for other things you want to grow into and do, then consider being a club coach, a club mentor, or a club sponsor. Well, why is it not working? There we go. We can just skip this part because you've already done. You've been on Toastmasters International website, Toastmasters.
Yeah.
And you've been on base camp. Where you done your icebreaker yet, or anything? Maybe not in just a week.
No.
Okay. But you've seen your program at least.
I have. I printed out the icebreaker
information,
like the checklists and things.
Okay, excellent. So this is how you get started with that, which you have already done. There are 6 paths available. There used to be 11, but now we're just focusing on 6, and there are dynamic leadership, engaging humor, motivational strategies, persuasive influence, presentation mastery, and visionary communication. But there are some of us who are still working on those old programs that were discontinued, so to speak, but we're allowed to continue until we finish them. So they are still there, available for that, but not for new people to get as a path. I'm going to give you a link to a document which is going to help you understand pathways better. A lot of people sometimes they feel like it's not easy to understand. So I'm going to put a link or send it to you for Basecamp user guide. And that's going to be a guide that helps you go through Basecamp. I have identified some things up here so that if you belong to more than one club, you're able to interact with all clubs. And that's on page 3 of the Basecamp guide. And each project starts with an introduction and a list of resources. And that's on page 6. You can bookmark information in your path. If it's something you like, you want to bookmark it. Oh, I think I want to come back to that a little bit later. Information on that is on page 8. And using the Know, Wonder, Learn interactive tool, that's pages 10 and 12. And completing your project to know what to do when you get to the end of your project. How do you really complete it to make sure that you're getting credit for it? That's on pages 19 and 21. And then the evaluation form that you can email to your evaluator. How to do that, that's on pages 37 through 45. And to be able to upload files to your profile inside Basecamp, pages 48 to 51. And adding meeting roles. That's going to be very significant now as of November 1 of this year at the end of October, because now we have to do meeting roles in addition to our information that we normally do in levels. And I will show you that on another slide. There are some changes for pathways in this past October, and it's requiring that meeting roles are required to complete every level. There are 5 levels to every path, 1 through 5. And so now every time you going through a level, you have to be participating in the meetings. And this to enhance or increase your engagement in the meetings on a weekly basis, and also to help you build more confidence. As well as you're participating in the meeting, you're getting more confident in what you're doing, you're practicing more, you're practicing your speeches, your impromptu speeches and so forth. So you're getting to really become raising your level of participation as well as the level of how well you're doing. Table topic speaker must be completed before you do the icebreakers. So I know you're working on your icebreaker now. Make sure that during the meeting, you do a table topics. You volunteer for a table topics. I don't know how do they do it in your meetings? Do they just get out there and say, "Oh, I'm going to call on this person to do a table topic," or they leave it open for people to volunteer? How do they go?
They call on you, and then whoever the table topic master might run it a little differently. Like last night, the person brought in a gift box, and then he picked something out of the box, an object, and gave it to the first speaker, and then that speaker, when he was done, he chose the next object and gave it to the next person. But sometimes they'll just draw it out of the bucket, or they'll have you draw it out of the bucket when you go up there. So I've seen it done a few different ways.
Okay, well, make sure that you volunteer or let them know that you want to participate before you do your icebreaker, because you want to have that experience before, according to the new outlines from Toastmasters. So you want to do that table topics first before you do your icebreaker. And each role that you do for each level you're in, there are certain types of roles you have to complete during that level. So if you did something in your level 1, I don't think that counts for level 2. You have to be active in the meetings in every level, actively participating. And then you want to be able to record your meetings in your profile. When you open up Basecamp, and after open up over to the right side, there's a little thing that says your profile. When you click on that, it'll open up your profile, and then at the bottom down there, there'll be a place where you can put in your roles, and the roles will stay. When they first allowed us to be able to do that, when you put your roles in, say I'm Toastmaster on January the 5th, and then I'm Toastmaster again on March the 3rd. Well, when I put want to put in for March 3rd, it deletes January the 5th. But now it keeps a record of it. So you'll see that you were Toastmaster on January the 5th and on March 3rd or March 23rd or whenever. Okay. So that's. And make sure that the roles that you record there will be visible with the Basecamp manager, your VPE or whomever you'll have doing the Basecamp, and making sure that people are passing the levels or helping them to pass the levels. Then they will be able to see that. There are going to be education presentations in levels 3, 4, and 5. And you're going to need to be able to track those new requirements as you go on. Level 1, before the end of October this year, we were just doing what was on the left side. We did an icebreaker, a speech with purpose, introduction, blah, 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 all of those. And when we did all of those, we were done with level 1. But now, as these new enhancements, there are some other things that we have to do in addition to those, like the table topic speaker. As I mentioned, before you do your icebreaker, be a speaker in table topics. Then you're going to have to evaluate someone. You're going to get that opportunity during the evaluation and feedback when you evaluate someone in that session, and that's countable. You can account that as the evaluator. Then you're going to have to be a timer or an counter. There are no other series presentations. When you go on to level 2, I'm going to have everything that was normally there. In addition, during the meetings, while you're in level 2, you're going to be a grammarian, Toastmaster, speech evaluator, top Toastmaster, or a timer, or a counter. So just make sure you fill in those roles as you're working in level 2. When you get to level 3, you want to be a Toastmaster, speech evaluator again, speaker in table topics, or either the topics master or an introductory mentor. An introductory mentor who unofficially supports new members based on their own experience. Say, for instance, a new person comes in and you want to sit with her and help her understand the meeting. Say, oh, well, this what this means. See, we're going to do some table topics. That means that we're going to be doing impromptu. Okay. Or if they need some help getting started with something, just anything that you help them with, then that is an introductory mentor. It's not an official mentor, but you are still mentoring, and you can use that as completing a requirement.
Okay.
And then also, you're going to have to do a speech from the Successful Club series. There's a document that I'm going to give you the link to, and I think it's called Club Officers helping you go through the new changes in pathways, which are the things that I'm talking about now. And it'll also give you links to these Successful Club series, so you can find those and choose whichever one you're going to be talking on. And I will point that out when we get to the resources. Level 4, you're going to be doing 2 extra speeches over here. You're going to be doing a Successful Club series, and those are going to be speeches that help the club do better or reach goals. And the Better Speaker series, well, that is to help you become better. That's the purpose of those. And you will get those also in the link that I'm going to give to you. And also, there is a special role. In our club, you know, I mentioned to you earlier about the Toastmaster wears many hats. Well, those are the normal roles in the meeting. But some clubs add extra roles differently. And this became apparent when we were online during COVID. Everybody was online, so somebody needed to take a look at the chat to see if anybody has questions, blah, blah, blah. And so that was the chat monitor that came about. And then also in our club, we want to help people listen and engage more. So we have the listener, and the listener listens throughout the meeting and then asks a few questions to see, just let people answer them. So those are special roles. So if there's any role in your club that's not the regular roles that are listed in the Toastmaster wears many hats, then that's a special role. And anytime you do that in the meeting, you just take note of that, and that will meet this requirement. When you get to level 5, you're supposed to be a master at it, right? You're demonstrating expertise. So you're going to have a project, your normal things, a lot more interaction in the club, a lot more roles that you're taking on. And then you're going to have a couple of speeches. So not only you're still going to do a speech on the club, helping the club be better, but now also you're going to be doing a speech on leadership excellence, building leaders, developing leaders. And by the time you do all of this, I think it's going to be a well-rounded, might as well say, education in this part of your journey. You will have completed all 5 levels. You will have completed a path. You will be proficient in that path. You'll probably get a pin with that path on it, presentation mastery, that you're proficient in that, and then that you can put on your clothes. And then you can go to your next path. You can, of those 6 that I showed you before, you can choose one of those to go to your next one. Some ask me, how long does it take to complete a path? And I would say anywhere completing a path, 6 to 12 months, just depends. If you can do a lot of speeches, then it may go quicker. But also with these extra projects here, like the Successful Club series, some of these may be a 10-minute speech, maybe a 15-minute speech. I don't have the time frame, but I know they're more than 5 to 7 minutes. And normally our club agenda is based on 5 to 7 minute speeches or 4 to 6 minute speeches if it's an icebreaker. So we're going to have some different speech categories in there. And so that may take you a little longer to complete a level. But I would say in a year, you should have completed a path, if not sooner. Now, these are the resources that I mentioned. This is the Officer's Guide to the 2025 Pathways Enhancements. So this link right here will explain everything that I mentioned about the different roles you're going to have to do, and also the different speech projects that you're going to have to do. And it will have links to those so you can download those and so forth. The Basecamp user guide is very important. That helps with any question that you have in using Basecamp and going through your path. It will help you with any question that you have. If you go through that, you should be okay, and you'll be able to help other people who may have problems with it. If you're a Basecamp manager, that's any officer in the club, or more specifically, maybe the VP of Education or the president or the secretary, but all the officers have access to Basecamp as the Basecamp manager. And this teaches you what to do, how to do it, how to find things in that guide. So that's a very important thing. Then the Basecamp videos, I added that link so you can just kind of see. If you're a visual type person, there's some little short videos you can watch. The information on pathways, path, and core competencies. This is a document that you could look through, and it identifies all of the paths and what's expected from each one. So you'll get a look at and see how many speeches you're going to have to do and all of those types of things for every path. And also the 300 path is the same thing. It's going to break the path down so you can see what's going to be expected of you. This is if you're trying to plan. Oh, well, I want to know how many speeches I have to do so that I'll know, I should plan to do a speech this month, or maybe I should plan to do 2 speeches this month so that I can meet my deadline that I have set for myself. So those are very important. There's a video library with some more videos, public speaking tips, how to use body language, And I gave you one link to a world champion of public speakers. I mentioned earlier about the contest that began in the club and goes through the district. Well, it even goes it goes even further, and you can be an international world champion of all the clubs in all of Toastmasters. So I have given you one example of the person in 2018 who was the world champion of public speaking. I liked her speech, and that's what I like to share. I share it. There's a link to the Toastmaster magazine. Of course, you also, as a member of Toastmasters, you're going to get an email with a link about the magazine. It's going to identify some things that's going to be available in the magazine. And for those who are new to Toastmasters altogether and don't know anything that's happened over the 100 years, there is the Toastmaster history link that I put in there so that you can just feel more comfortable in Toastmasters, knowing what it's all about, how long it's been around, various things about Toastmasters. So that kind of brings us to the end of our presentation today. We have gone over what the club is, the club officers, how the club is set up with the various meeting roles, and the three parts of the meeting, which is going to be the speeches, the table topics, and the evaluations. We also talked about where you can go beyond your club, whether you want to be an area director, well, beginning in your club, if you want to be an officer of the club, and then going beyond to area director, division director, and then beyond that to a district leadership position, one of the trio or one of the other supporting roles in the district. And we also talked about your paths that are available and the resources that you can use to help you have a better journey in Toastmasters. So do you have any questions on anything that we went over today? Is there anything more you would like to know?
I do have some questions. So I think everyone in my group, they're very supportive and they're very nice. They're very easy to talk to and they're very helpful. But as far as like finding like a mentor, is that like how do you do that? Do you just ask someone, will you be my mentor, or do you talk to your VP of education, or how do you do that?
You talk to your VP of education, let them know you would like to have a mentor. If you have somebody specifically that you would like to mentor you, you can mention that to your VPE.
Okay.
Know that, could you arrange for me to talk with this person or arrange for this person to be my mentor? And then they will arrange for that, let you talk with that person and get that all set up. In my club, I really like the mentor program. I've mentored several of our club members, and those that I have mentored have gone on to be president of the club and things of that nature. So the mentoring really helps. It helps them to get more comfortable, make you feel comfortable, to make you feel like you belong, to the club. And it also helps you clarify where you want to go. And it helps you to be confident when you go up there to speak, because during your mentoring sessions, they are going to maybe do some critiquing of something. Say you want to go over a speech, they may have some ideas for that so that you would be able to, tighten that up before you do your speech. And then they are available after the speech, to push you forward and tell you what a great job you did.
Okay.
So the mentor is for you is very nice. And just ask your VPE. Just tell them you would like to have a mentor.
Okay. Thank you. And with the pathways, do you always have to be in a pathway, or if you just finish one, can you take a break, or do you just, are you required to be in one at all times?
You are required to make your speeches from a pathways.
Okay.
So if you finish your path, and you can take as long as you need to finish that path. I think it's going to be a total of maybe 14 speeches, but with the additional ones that added, it's going to be less than 20 speeches. It's going to be 16 or 17, something like that. I haven't counted. So you can take as long as you need for that. After you finish your path, you don't have to jump right in if you want to take a break. But if you're going to be giving speeches in the club, they need to be in a path or, from the path. And the reason for that is that as you do speeches as an individual, your speech counts for your club as well. Because every time you complete something and you become successful at that, then your club is successful. When you complete a level, then your club is completing that level. And because we have this program called the Distinguished Club Program, and there are certain criteria for it, but it depends on the success of the member and how the member is progressing. So say if we need 9 points or so to speak, and 9 goals, well then maybe 4 of those goals is saying somebody has to complete level 1. So many people have to complete level 1. So many have to complete level 2, 3, 4, and 5. So all of that counts as you complete the level. That puts a goal completed for your club. When your club gets those goals, then it becomes a distinguished club, which is an outstanding accomplishment. And it's outstanding because it's showing that your members are going forward, your members are progressing, your members are accomplishing goals. And so that's a very fruitful club.
Okay.
I do any speeches, that's fine. You don't have to, but if you do a speech, it needs to be a pathway speech.
Okay. And so I have some of the members in this club. They've been in Toastmasters since the 1980s.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're like a long-term person, or would you just be going through the pathways again, like trying one of the ones you did before, and doing that one again? Is that how that works?
Well, that with the pathways now, before pathways, we got pathways as an official thing with no other thing that you can do in 2020.
Okay.
For 2020, we had manuals. We had the communicator manuals and the leadership manual. So there were like 10 speeches in the communicator and then 10 things to complete in the leadership. When you finished those, then you went to some more manuals up a little level. So now what Toastmaster has done is taken that idea and made it a part of pathways. So the information from some of those manuals for the next level are being incorporated into pathways now. So it's not like you're just doing the same thing over and over and over. Another way I like to describe it is each time you do a new level, you always start with icebreaker. And some may feel, well, I just did the icebreaker. Why did I keep having to do the icebreaker? Why do I still have to do that? Because icebreaker is just the first speech in that path. And there is so much of your life that you can offer. You just choose what part you want to talk about. That icebreaker is about you, your work, your life, your hobbies, your goals, whatever you want to talk about regarding yourself. And so there's so much, especially if you've been alive 20 years, you got a whole bunch to talk about that you can break down. Family, school, college, just whatever it is, just break it down. My work projects at work. So even though the project is the same, it's still an icebreaker, but the information that you can put in that is different. So even though you're doing the paths over and over, there's still so much information that you could put in it and make it new each time. Make it a new path.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I had my first role last night and I felt like I did terribly. Everyone was so nice. And I said, my VP of education told me I did a great job. I feel like I completely, I don't know. I felt like I felt less prepared, or it just went worse than I expected. And so I'm just like, what can you do? Like, what could I do to prepare for that better? I just did the timekeeper. Everyone says that's the easiest. I have ADHD though, so it's like everything that my brain is terrible at is that role. So when I went to do my table topic speech, I think I got to 53 seconds and then I was just done. Like, I just want to be done with this because I'm so overwhelmed with the other thing. I guess, how do you practice something like that?
Now you practice being
Like
timer,
transitioning
from timer to something
or
else. Well,
Yeah, I guess, or like if there's like a role that I have and I'm like, I feel like that was not good, then I guess I don't know.
you can
What do you
always,
like? Are there resources that everyone loves?
well, say if timer is just a little too much for you right now, then that's fine because timer takes takes a lot of concentration and action between your hands and the timer and all of that.
Hmm.
So you could just do another one like the listener. If that's in your club, you can do the listener. And all that is active listening and then just asking someone a question on that. Or the
Hmm.
grammarian, being the grammarian. If y'all have the word of the day in your meeting, then
Yep.
you're listening for how many times you hear the word of the day. And if you don't hear them all, that's okay. I mean, you just say, I heard 5 times somebody use the word of the day. And that's
Yeah.
your word. It's not, well, 3 more people did it. No, 5 times
Right.
heard the word of the day. So that's what it is. And
Yeah.
what I would say when you come into the meeting, especially being new as yourself, I would just tell you to just realize that this is a safe space.
Hmm.
That's what I think about, and that's what I tell people. Toastmasters is a safe space because what are we doing when we come? We're practicing. We're practicing how to do timer. We're practicing how to do speeches. And so everything is a practice, and practice makes better. And each time you practice, you get better. And you also have to keep in mind that the clubs are not going to be making fun of you because your progress is their progress. If
Hmm.
you don't progress, the club doesn't progress. So everybody is for you and nobody's against you. So when you walk into that room, you can feel comfortable, even if you make a mistake. I know
Right.
everybody here is for me
Yeah.
and no one is against me. And
So
so,
I did write down some like I wrote down some reflections like what I think it was in the it's one of the things in the pathways where it says like by doing these roles what did you learn and what would you do better if you were going to do this role again or something. So I
mm,
thought, well, I'll just make those reflections as I do the roles because then that it will be there. But then I thought like with the like I was the timer, which is fine. I got all the times, but
mm,
then I had to go speak for table topics, and then I had to ask, Susan, can you time me, please? And then
mm,
she had to get set up, and so I think maybe like I would prepare her in advance or whoever's like, would you mind timing me just in case they call me up so that they're prepared for
mm.
it, and I'm not just you know, and just things like
Another
that.
thing, another thing you can do, there is excuse me, there's a Toastmaster timer that you can download to your phone. And it has all of the various times for everything in the meeting. Well, table topics, it knows that it's 1 to 2 minutes. So
Hmm.
at the 1 minute, you're going to get the green and then the yellow. So if you are doing timing and you're using your phone, also, when you go up to speak, just take your phone with you. And so no one has to time you. You can time yourself. So if you're, concerned with having to train somebody or
Oh,
tell,
really? You can tell yourself?
yes, I can send
Oh,
you the
yeah.
link for that
I did
timer.
I did have that app. I did download the app because it
Yeah,
flashes the
yeah,
color so that because
yeah,
it's like I'm like pay attention so it flashes the
yeah,
color so I'm like oh green's up and I
yeah.
could see it coming and then if I didn't catch it it's like oh we're flashing a new color and so like maybe I put it up like a second later but yeah that was very helpful but I didn't know you could time yourself.
Yeah,
I
just
feel like that like threw me off and then I was just kind of like in this scrambling mode. And my topic was socks. Like anybody could talk about socks for forever. I feel like that's such a easy one. And then
mhm,
I just couldn't even get a minute because I was so frazzled. Um,
mhm.
so do you think if I have do you think it's better to do I feel like in with all the new people, we have quite a few new people, like maybe three or four at least. And I've
Mhm.
noticed that they're getting the roles like one day I think they start everyone with the timer usually, and then you'll be you know, the grammarian or the the awe counter or whatever and then but they kind of cycle you through those roles. Do you think that it's best to cycle through the roles or ask to be the same until I get comfortable with like the timer and then move on? Or what do you think about that? Is that a thing?
Well, that might work, but with the new procedures that are there now, someone has to be timer. So if they're trying to get that role to check off
Oh,
timer, then there's has to be some rotation.
I see. Yeah.
People can
Okay.
do it. But I see nothing wrong with maybe if you want to be timer twice, just talk with your Toastmaster or your VP of Education. Said, I did timer today. I'm not really satisfied with it. I would like to do it one more time next week.
Okay.
I think I'll feel more comfortable. I really want to get not perfect, but good at this. And I'm sure they can arrange that or someone can sit with you to help you do it better.
Okay.
Whatever.
So it's a pretty small group. I feel like it's, I think that should be manageable. Yeah, I'll talk to him about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. Did I have? I think that was all my questions. Yeah,
Okay.
that's all my questions.
Okay, well, excellent. Well, I am happy to see you, Danny. I am happy that you've chosen to be a Toastmaster, and you'll be surprised how the years will go by. Walked into the Toastmasters Club meeting in 2015,
Okay.
and it's been 10 years now.
10 years. Wow.
Ago.
That's like, I think I first heard about Toastmasters in 2015 because
Yeah.
the sales guys at the place I was working, that's what they would do. Like one day a week, they would have to go to Toastmasters. It was like part of their job. I was like, what is that? What do you do? And I thought it sounded so interesting. So it's kind of been in my ear since 2015, but this
Yeah.
is the first time I actually went. So it's been really fun though.
Oh, welcome.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're
Yeah. It's great.
All right. And I'll send you these, I'll email you the
Oh,
resources
okay.
so that you can go from there and just really go through the resources, especially the Basecamp user guide, so that will help you with any questions that you may have with Pathways itself.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much.
All right. And good luck in meetings.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. I'll see you later.
Okay. See you later. Bye.
Bye.